Hello guys and greetings from Kyiv. While Donald Trump is on fire spreading some openly pro-Russian messages, Moscow was also on fire, but in this literal meaning of the word. Someone smoked in the Institution of Precision Mechanics in Moscow, and as a result, the fire lasted all the night. Despite all the efforts, a number of helicopters working, 400 tons of water dropped, the structure collapsed. So Russians will have serious problems with the software for their military, including various telecommunication and navigation systems. Trust me, the only way to end this war is to defeat Russia. And it is the weakest ever. So whoever tells you that it is impossible to stop this evil, that's why we have to change the rhetorics and attitude 180 degrees, this is very wrong. I was very disappointed to learn that the new US administration does not want to sign the G7 resolution where Russia is named an aggressor. This is just like George Orwell's book, where you simply lie openly, and I'm sure all of you understand that such switch to totally different point of view is impossible without some evil foreign interference. Let me know what do you think about that in the comments below, and I'm happy to tell you more about that military institution and yes, plus one more oil refinery in Syzran. My name is Anna, I'm from Ukraine, I'm in Ukraine. And if you want to see the defeat and demilitarization of Russia, which has already started, and demonstrate your solidarity to the people of Ukraine, subscribe and share these videos on your social media platforms, because unfortunately right now Russia has occupied top spheres for spreading this misinformation. And I have promised myself not to talk much about Trump because I'm sure his anger, his emotions, his chaos will soon destroy him. But the support rating of President Zelensky is higher. It's 57, and it's actually growing after this negativity and substitution of reality. It's quite obvious for everyone in Ukraine that Russia is to blame for all the evil, that Russia is the aggressor, and not just against Ukraine, but against all the countries that still preserve democratic rules. The United States, you are in danger. And Moscow is already in danger, and all because they started this war in 2014 against Ukraine and switched to full scale in 2022. We don't know what happened in that institution. Perhaps someone smoked. It all happened in the evening, so no casualties among the people. But there are serious damages to the structure of the institution, and taking into account photos and videos available on the internet, I'm not sure that any materials or developments survived. They had to send a number of firefighting machines, and even helicopters were involved, dropping 400 tons of water. All of that happening in Moscow, and people watching, understanding that the hell is coming. And what is interesting, they now count more than 1,500 square meters that were destroyed. As it is not an ordinary institution, but a military institution involved in the development of various systems for the Russian army, they had gas cylinders or something for their tests and so on, and they kept exploding during all the night, so it was literally impossible to stop the fire. And in the result, the roof collapsed, and minus one institution that was helping Russians kill innocent Ukrainians. I even had to put down the things they were developing there so that you know which flanks in the Russian army became weaker. And that is high-performance computing systems for national security. National security is very bad in Russia. You clearly see that with Ukrainian drones traveling unstoppable and Kursk under the control of Ukrainian troops. Subscribe to see the collapse of the Kremlin and Putin in prison. That is the only way. And don't let it turn into, 1938. And please share these videos because bad things are happening in the country that was once the mother of democracy for many nations like mine. Software for digital telecom communications, Russians won't be able to produce anymore in that Moscow institution. And finally, geographic information and navigation systems. With all the restrictions that Ukrainians had during the previous 3 years, with all the chaos that is happening right now and totally unjustified lies and negativity, we are doing a great job keeping destroying the military and oil industry. And of course, these recent comments coming from Washington, they made Putin and his propagandists super happy. And I'm sure this is a kind of like informational psychological operation because it is impossible that the country that was totally on the side of the European Union, the democratic countries, switched to the support of Russia. I don't know how could it happen after all these things that you saw and actually experienced together with me. And by humiliating President Zelensky, Trump actually humiliates our nation. At the same time, I can share with you the attitudes of people. And there is a joke that we were a little bit tired. We had a lot of problems inside the society, but we clearly remember how one crazy old man united all of the country in February 2022, and that was Putin. And we have something very similar happening right now, where one super emotional, very arrogant and narcissistic old man started offending our country and our president, and once again united us more than ever. And honestly, guys, the rating of support of President Zelensky is higher than it is in the support of of Donald Trump. It is 57, and it started growing since like yesterday, and it will. And what is also interesting, if you keep thinking about the elections in Ukraine, I, first of all, never wish you to experience what is war, understanding that women give birth to children, during air raid alerts, and it's clearly that it's super dangerous to organize elections. Second, millions of Ukrainians abroad, then lots of Ukrainians on the front lines, and most importantly, it goes against the constitution. Plus, it's so much of the Russian propaganda when you have no questions to the elections in Russia, you have no questions to elections in Belarus, you consider these two dictators legitimate, you want to take off their sanctions, and this makes me think that Trump wants to become Putin of Russia and Putin of America, and that is why he supports Putin, because there is no other explanation. And by the way, Churchill did not hold elections in Britain during the Second World War. Why did you hold them in the United States? Because there were no carpet bombings in the United States as they were in Britain. Please feel the difference. When every Ukrainian city is targeted every month, it gets very dangerous. And do you realize that Putin will do everything to distort these elections? And most importantly, not stupid people understand that if we hold these elections right now, I think half of the Ukrainians will not participate in them, and they will not demonstrate the will of Ukrainian people, literally because they will be either afraid to go to the polling stations, that Putin will burn them there, or they are abroad, or they are in the trenches. So what are we talking about, and how come Russia became a peaceful, beautiful nation and Ukraine a bad country because it defends itself too strong? You cannot imagine how many emotions we feel, but this unites us very well. And I think that since recently, courage is a very rare quality, but we have a lot of that in Ukraine, so we can share. And one more oil refinery was destroyed in Syzran, And that is good because approximately 46% of their oil refineries are damaged and out of order. And that is a huge success of the Ukrainian drone army. For that, we did not need any support at all. But it's quite just that the country that gave up its nuclear weapons may hope it will get the guarantees. Otherwise, we will keep growing stronger. That is the attitude we have here in Ukraine, in brave Kyiv. Sending you warmest greetings. Please support the campaign that we have with Ukraine aid operations. This makes me happy, and this is the best way to demonstrate your solidarity and to demonstrate those weak, cowardly politicians that start licking Putin's, you can guess. I don't know why. There are a number of reasons, but the fact of doing that is quite obvious. Let's be realistic, it's not the negotiation strategy. It's just an awe in front of the collapsing, pathetic, weak, Botox Kremlin dictator. Thank you for buying me coffees, becoming my patrons and sponsors of the channel. Thank you for your kind words and comments. I'm reading all of them and they make me feel stronger. And I know that many of you experience very harsh emotions. Remember, I want to hug you and I know how it feels. Today is the anniversary of Maidan, and here I will connect a video that explains it was not a coup, but it was a serious civil protest against Yanukovych, who was a totally created Russian political figure, escaped to Russia together with 3 of his ministers that, yes, had Russian citizenship. Can you imagine? There were times in Ukraine where our ministers, including the Minister of Defense, were Russian citizens. Insane, right? So it's quite obvious that we needed to stop that, and sometimes, guys, when things grow really bad in your country, you do have to protest. And that's what we did in 2014, and we keep defending the independence and sovereignty of Ukraine, which is the only solution for Europe and the world. Trust me, you don't want dictators to dominate the planet. Join me on X, I'm fighting there, and actually the numbers are growing. Maybe people are intoxicated with Musk. Join me on Blue Sky, follow me on Instagram, Threads, and we have a good Discord community. Check our merch shop for lots of good items that work well as reminders and conversation starters about Ukraine. And thank you so much that you remain sane, that you remember who attacked Ukraine and how many crimes they committed against our children, against our women, against our men, against the beautiful, peaceful country that lived its own way and did not threaten anyone. Please do not substitute the reality, because this is a sin. I know you know that, but please share the word, and Slava Ukraini!